Now, someone with firsthand of being targeted by these agitators is the I-24 News social media producer, India Naftali, who with her husband, Hananya, were the guests this past weekend at a pro-Israel event in a church in the northern Dutch town, Netherlands town of Heerenveen. Now, that event was disrupted by anti-Israel protesters, but here is how the crowd there reacted. Well, with us is our digital I-24 News digital media producer, India Naftali. It looked like people were being clashing with guards there or something. But you tell us what happened. What was this event, first of all, India?
Right. So my husband and I were invited to the Netherlands by Christians for Israel Netherlands to speak about Israel and our experience of what's been going on here in the country. Now, because my husband has quite a huge following on social media, he was picked up by the anti-Israel community in the Netherlands, and they decided, well, we're going to cancel this guy. So they went to every single one of our venues and canceled them. They forced the venues to cancel. And you know what? What they did to harm us actually helped us. We were able to book bigger venues after they went and told everyone, you can't have these people at the venue. They support Israel. So that's how we ended up in Friesland in the Netherlands. You know, Friesland is a small area in the Netherlands. It's the countryside.
But not so small. The province in northern Holland.
Sure. So the village was quite small, but you know what was amazing was 800 people showed up in this small village in the Netherlands. Meanwhile, outside there were around 10 anti-Israel, pro-Palestine protesters chanting from the river to the sea. And some of them infiltrated the events and began to raise their flags and chant things and curses towards us. But what the most beautiful thing was, in response to the screaming, they were singing. And that's what I loved about the Dutch people. It was a group of Christians, but also Jews, that instead of screaming with hate, they responded with love. And I think, you know, these people didn't come because they hate Palestinians. They came because they love Israel and they understand what Israel's facing.
How did you feel then when you talked to those people? Because the Netherlands, a country with a large Muslim population, which also has certainly a large political sector of progressives, many of them have turned on Israel. How did you find in your dialogue with them how they're reacting to what is happening on the streets of cities like Amsterdam, like Rotterdam, and even, as you say, in some of the smaller towns there?
I received so much love from these people because they were hurt. They were hurt that this is how their guests in the Netherlands were being received. These people who love Israel, they said, we're so sorry this is how you were received in the Netherlands. And again, these people, they love the Jewish people. A lot of them are Christians, and the Jewish people oftentimes don't know how much the Christian community stands with them. I had one Jewish woman come to me and she said, I'm Jewish just like you, India, and I had no idea this many Christians stood with us. So I think there was a lot of solidarity, and also the Jewish community was touched to see that even Christians are singing a Jewish folk song to combat the hate. Instead of hate, they responded with love.
Right. I'm just curious about our guests who I'm sure do speaking engagements abroad. And I think, Michael, you were recently in the U.S. about concern that you may face this kind of agitation or even violent threats in some cases.
It's not a concern. It happens.
Okay. Well, tell us about it.
But I'd have to ask to India, what kind of security did you have? So I go to a university recently in northern Florida. And, you know, in the past, I'd have a couple of policemen guarding me. I had dozens of policemen guarding me. I had an armored car on an APC following me around everywhere I went. And yeah, there were protesters, and they tried to break in, but the cops stopped them, and very big cops.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We did have the security, like you said. So if in the video you can see them getting dragged out, and
in the background we saw in the sort of balcony
that they had them, and it's so sad that we do have to have them.
And there are more and more of them.
And they don't need security because, you know, you saw how we responded.
Yeah.
Instead of swinging, we sang.
It was
swinging
great.
fists.
It's fabulous, fabulous.
Right.
And that's why It's sad that we need security and
At
they
another
don't.
university, I was not allowed in the same room with the students. They had to have it streamed in because they were too afraid that there'd be a riot inside the university.
Let me ask you, Andy, because you put out on social media or on Instagram, and it goes on Facebook, I guess, our TikTok accounts too, the battleground of social media. How has it been running? Have the reactions that you've been getting, I guess, from both sides in this issue?
You know, Club, one of the journalists asked my husband and I, it's easy, they said, why are you coming to the Netherlands? It's so easy for you to come and talk to people who already love Israel. But we responded to her and we said, listen, we on social media every single day are talking to people who hate us and don't agree with us. We're not afraid to answer these hard questions. So you're right, Kalev, and there's a war ground on social media. But I think the best way to respond is to continue speaking, not being the silent majority, because I think right now what we're seeing in the Netherlands is there's a lot of people who support Israel, but they're afraid. You see these threatening people, and they're afraid to speak up. And now I think because we're standing together, because we're seeing moments like these on social media, people are being less afraid to speak up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, Relic.
You know, the chant from the river to the sea is so abusive that a lot of people understand that the next thing that will happen is Chicago will be free, or Milwaukee, or the Netherlands will be free.
I do have to say, just in the past few weeks, we have seen, and there's been controversy in America, the death to Israel chants in some cases have become death to America chants in American cities, and that has become...
So sometimes the chants or the using a verbiage that is so abusive works for you, because that means they're negating our right to exist, not just what piece of land can we trade or what kind of peace can we have. So this is something that can work for us if we're able to use this in showing the people there that it's just a matter of time until they are called from one place to the next in Muslim or Palestinian, or for that matter, a non-local entity that should be wiped out, so to speak.
All right.